Hey, welcome back to another Kalen video. Did you happen to hear that Apple dropped a new subscription service? And it's actually kind of good. It's called Apple Creator Studio, and it gives creators access to a host of Apple Creative Studio products. Wait, did you even know they had a Creative Studio? Let's take a look. Apple has a really robust Creative Studio. I'm gonna name a couple of the apps here. Premiere, FL Studio, Photoshop, After Effects, Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. With those that... What? That's the wrong... Apple has different... It's called something... Take it from the top. Yeah, Apple has a really robust Creative Studio, starting off with Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro, Pixelmator Pro, Motion, kind of, Pages, Numbers, and Keynote. Not to be confused with the other apps of similar names. And of course, you have some heavy hitters in there like Freeform, Compression, and Main Stage. Yeah, so Apple's Creative Studio may not be the most well-known, but one thing they've had going for them has been their one-time purchase apps. You buy Final Cut Pro once, you get the updates every year, one update every year, and you get to keep the app. A lot of software companies like Adobe don't really follow that model anymore. So people who use Final Cut Pro and some of the other Apple apps like that part. So when they hear Apple Creative Studio, kind of raise an eyebrow. Let's take a look at like what it actually means. So one of the most important things I think for a lot of people is going to be a lot of these apps get booted over to the iPad. Now, this isn't just like a slight app, like a light, like a Final Cut Pro or Logic Pro Lite. It's the whole thing, especially Pixelmator Pro. On top of that, they get a brand new design. They're kind of going for that newer liquid glass, glossy kind of transparent gradient that a lot of these companies are going off. Take a look at what Microsoft has done, for example. I think this redesign is great, at least from a visual perspective. I love the continuity for the OS, because right now they kind of just look like...
Oh, hell no, man.
I will say the only time that the UI, at least the UI was updated was in the iPad. For Final Cut Pro and Logic, doesn't really seem like the UI was made to match, and maybe that's because they want it to last through multiple phases. As you know, Final Cut Pro is an old piece of software. It's been around for a while, so maybe they don't want to go all in on the liquid glass and confuse creators, but you know. So the first app, as I mentioned earlier, not Premiere, but Final Cut Pro. I use Final Cut Pro. It's good for what it does. I think it's very similar to iMovie, and so if you've gotten into iMovie from the beginning, Final Cut Pro is the obvious next step that you would take. Let's talk about some of the changes. A really big one, which I think could help you out maybe if you forgot a clip or something, is visual search. It allows you to type in a description of the frame, and it will bring you right to it. It's kind of a neat AI feature, and I like how they smoothly threw that one in there. So the next one is similar. It's transcript. So the next one is similar. It's transcript search. It kind of allows you to type in a word, something somebody said, and it'll bring you right to that point. Another one which I will personally use is beat detection. It will automatically help you sync up your clips to the beats. When you import a song, it will detect the beat and allow you to sync up the clips to the beat of the song. Here's kind of a gimmicky one. There's new graphics. Cool. I don't really use too many of Apple's built-in graphics anyway, so for that one, I was just kind of like, cool. Not really much to talk about for that one. So these apps right now are kind of standalone, and I think Apple's trying to break down this barrier and make them more interoperable. First, by adding Logic audio effects and voice isolation mechanics to Final Cut Pro. I think this is important because they're trying to keep you in this Creative Studio. If you know a little bit of Logic, well then you'll automatically know a little bit of Final Cut, at least in the audio editing aspect. Also, if you have a song, your song will automatically clip to the end of the project. So if you add another clip, it will extend the song. If you remove a clip, it will cut the song down. So intelligently adjusting the soundtrack was pretty nice. And Of course, there are some specific iPad features they want to get you to use the iPad and give you a reason to have an iPad. There are three. There's the live multicam, there's the live drawing, and there's the montage maker. Those are all iPad exclusives, as far as I'm understanding. I guess we'll see when it comes out. That's all I got for Final Cut. Let's go to the next one. Logic Pro. I forgot the name of it. You can split audio into isolated tracks. For example, you can isolate the vocals versus the drums versus the guitar. There's the mastering assistant. There's the mastering assistant, which I believe helps you choose the chord. So if you play a couple notes or whatever, it'll tell you how to choose the chord for this song, or maybe the BPM. I'm not entirely sure on that one. Chord detection, which is cool. Your first set of chords will set the chords for the rest of the song. Hey, so the mastering assistant is basically track editing, and the chord detection is pretty self-explanatory. There's players for new instruments. So there used to be the smart drummer, now there's a smart guitarist, and several other instruments listed here. There's the flashback capture. So if you played something you really liked, but you weren't pressing record, you can now add it to the song. And I think one of the big ones is live loops. Cool. I don't know. Y'all, let me know in the comments if that's a good feature. There's an iPad specific feature called Touch to Play, where you can strum a guitar like a guitar, basically. You can do stuff like that on the iPad. Going on some, probably my favorite one, unfortunately has the least amount of updates, and it's Pixelmator Pro. So, brand new UI. Love it. Thank you, Apple.
Thank you. Thank you.
And it's now available on iPad. Thank goodness.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
For those of you who use iPad, it now supports the Apple Pencil. Fantastic. And it's really helpful for vectoring, if you know what that is. And to be honest, that's about it. Based off my research, not much going on for Pixelmator, but hey, look, cool new fancy logo. Next we got Pages. So there's a content hub, and the content hub goes for all of their Office type of apps. So that's kind of where you get all of your AI generated slop content. There is, however, advanced image creation, which is part of the content hub. And of course, there's new themes and templates. That's for Pages. Then for Numbers, you get the content hub, you get the images and whatnot. There's new themes, of course, and you get Magic Fill. So that's kind of like autofill on Excel, but Apple wordy, so magic.
Imagination.
Moving on to Keynote. Keynote has the content hub, the advanced. There are also presenter notes, which is pretty cool. AI generated notes based off the slide. And then there's also slide generation, which is based off of your notes. Yeah, it's the chicken and the egg scenario. There's new themes, and there's AI slide cleanup, which I think could be really useful. And honestly, who uses Freeform? But there's the content hub, and there's image creation and editing. Cool. Motion, I don't think any changes were made except for the logo, compressor, and main stage. I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know what those things are, but if you know what they do, let me know in the comment. Great, these apps are updated. What does that mean for us? Is Apple gonna pull the Adobe and stop updating apps and take our accesses away and downgrade the apps that we already paid for? No, probably. Let's see. Apple says a one-time purchase will continue to be available and it will receive updates. Now, there are some premium updates, but they're generally AI generative features. So things like the content hub and the advanced editing and generation stuff. Some templates are considered premium, but by and large, your apps will remain untouched, which is really good for those people like me who have bought a good deal of these apps and don't need Apple Creative Studio. I don't need Logic Pro. Across the board, I think this is a really good deal. I think these updates are well needed. I love the AI stuff, except you. You're unneeded. The AI features slot right in where you barely even notice them. It gives you access both on your Mac and your iPad for a fairly low price, especially if you're a student. And while I'm hesitant to accept that Apple's stepping into the subscriptions model world, I think it's necessary for them. I don't love it, but Apple does provide some good subscriptions, like Apple Care One. Let's address the elephant in the room. How does this compare to Adobe? Adobe subscription is $70 a month, whereas Apple subscription is $12 a month. And if you're a student, it's $3 a month. In comparison, Adobe's student subscription is around $20. This blows Adobe out of the water. Now, Adobe offers more in terms of variety, but I think if you are looking to just try to be creative and learn creative apps in the first place, this is a really good deal. When it does come out, I'll let you know what I think about it. I'll try the apps before and after, and if anything changes, I'll let you know. Apple says nothing should change. Even if you buy the subscription and get off of it, your state before the subscription should stay the same. The only thing that you won't continue to have access to is the generative AI slop, which I'm okay with. I say this, if you are just now getting in to being a creator and wanting to try to see what you're good at, really good deal. Especially if you're a student, try all the apps. Try them for a week, try them for a month. You get a free trial, I think it's 2 weeks, or maybe a month. Give it a whirl. And for those of us that are already creating things, you likely, if you're in the Apple ecosystem, you likely already have the apps that you need. So I see no downsides apart from the fact that it's a subscription, I guess. So give it a try. But I'm curious, what do you think? Would you get the subscription, or do you think this is just another effort to get money from consumers? But anyways, see you in the next one. Peace. So the next one is similar. It's transcript search.